Today we are going to do our Chapter 1 midterm review. So we're going to deal with 8 problems that are very similar to your midterm review sheet and the 8 problems that will be on your midterm from Chapter 1. So the first 3 type of problems, they want us to use order of operations to solve. Now, in order to use order of operations, we have to know order of operations. So somebody tell me, what are our order of operations? And not just the letters, but what the letters stand for. William?
Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition and subtraction.
Very good. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Now, there are 2 rules that we have to, there's a rule that we have to follow when we get to 2 of these operations. Multiplication and division, we follow a rule, and addition and subtraction, we follow the same rule. What is that rule? Vincent?
Left to right.
Very good. Left to right rule. The left to right rule says whichever one of these I see first, multiplication or division, I do first. So if I see division comes before multiplication, and what I mean comes whatever I see first, left to right, okay? I'm going to do that first. It doesn't matter. I don't have to do multiplication first. If I see division first, do that. Same thing with addition and subtraction. If I see subtraction before addition, if it's farther left than the addition, I do it first. Now that does not say that if I see addition before multiplication, I still do multiplication first because it's higher than addition and subtraction. It's just those 2 that it works for. So we do left to right on these. Okay? So now I'm going to use these order of operations and I'm going to solve each of these problems. Now on this first problem right here, I have a fraction bar, but this does not mean I'm going to use it as division right off the bat. I'm first going to use it as it's separating 2 different problems. I'm going to solve everything up top, and then I'm going to solve everything on bottom. Then, when I get one number over one number, then I can divide. Okay? So let's say, if I'm going to do everything on the top, 5 times 2 plus 3, what would I do first, Brianna?
You would multiply.
Okay, multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. Then I have 10 plus 3, which is 13. So I simplified everything on the top. Now to the bottom. What would I do first in this problem? Vincent? Parentheses. 4 plus 9 is 13 plus 3. What's 13 plus 3?
16.
Now here's the point that I would divide if it was possible. Or simplify if it was possible. But is it possible on this problem? No. 13 over 16 is going to stay 13 over 16. And that is my answer. If it was an improper fraction, you could make it a mixed number if you wanted. You wouldn't have to. But if it was a fraction that could be simplified, like for instance, 10 over 20, I would have to reduce that to 1/2. You cannot leave it as a fraction that can be reduced. Okay? So let's do the next problem. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. What am I going to do first? Parentheses, which is 6 plus 2, which is 8. So I have 8 to the 3rd power minus 7. What would I do now?
You would
Do the
8 times 8.
8 to the 3rd power, which is
512.
512. 512 minus 7 is 505. You are allowed to use your calculators on the midterm. On all problems, you can use your calculator. Now, this last problem, if there is going to be an error in any sort of order of operation problems, it usually happens on these problems here. The reason why is people make the same mistake over and over and over. Think about order of operations. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So first step, usually everybody gets it right because what do I want to do first? Parentheses, 4 minus 2. 2 times 2 squared plus 3. Here's the mistake. Is people say, parentheses, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 squared is 16, 16 plus 3 is 19. Wrong. When order of operations says parentheses, it means that there is actually something to do inside of parentheses. 4 minus 2. There was something that we had to do. We had to take away 2 from 4. But look at this second step. 2 is the only thing inside the parentheses. Is there an actual action for me to do? No. What do these parentheses symbolize? Zachary? Multiplication. That does not come before exponents. That means I have to do the exponents first. So 2 squared is 4. Now I do multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. See how different the answers is? If I did it out of order of operations, I got 19. If I did it with order of operations, I get 11. And 11 is the only correct answer. So the next 3 type of problems that we have are using order of operation, but they go a step farther. And they say, okay, we're going to put a variable in the problem, but we're going to tell you what the variable equals. We just want you to plug it in. So I've got to substitute a number for the variable, and then I can use order of operations. So the first problem that I have is x plus 5 to the y power. They tell us that x is going to equal 7 and y is going to equal 3. So Valentina, read me the problem with the numbers plugged in.
7 plus 5 to the third power.
Very good. 7 plus 5 to the third power. So, Vincent, what am I going to do first?
You would add first.
Which is?
12 to the third power.
And I get 12 to the third power. Now, here's a common mistake people make. Oh, 12 to the third power is 36, because 12 times 3 is 36. No, that is not how exponents work. Remember, that means 12 times 12 times 12. There's 3 12s, basically. So what's 12 times 12 times 12?
1,728.
Very good, 1,728. A little bit different than 36. Okay? The next problem, what they want me to do is they want me to, actually the next 2 problems, they want me to say, yes, this number that I plugged in for the variable is a solution, or no, it is not. I didn't want to take up all the space on your review sheet and write x equals 7, so I just did a little semicolon, but this is exactly what I want you to plug in for x into your equation, okay? So we're going to plug it in, and we're going to say, yes, it's a solution, or no, it's not. 7 minus 3 plus 5 equals 9. Then I need to follow order of operations. So what would I do first?
You would do the
Parentheses, 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 plus 5 equals 9. Does 4 plus 5 equal 9? Yes, it does. So my answer has to contain both of these parts. 9 equals 9, and yes. The only way it's going to be yes is if I were to get a 9, because any other number would not be correct, because it's an equation, and only one number can be a solution. But look down at the next problem. We have an inequality. That means I'm going to plug in 1 for y, and as long as the number I get is greater than 3, it will be yes. If it's not greater than 3, it is no. So I need to make sure I have both parts of the answer right. If you get 7 is greater than 3, and you say, oh yeah, that's right, technically you're going to be wrong because you have the wrong answer. Yes, it is greater than, but no, it is not the correct answer. Okay? What would I plug in here?
1.
7 minus 4, because 4 times 1 is 4, is greater than 3. What's 7 minus 4?
3.
3 is greater than 3. Is this a solution? No, because 3 is not greater than 3. 3 is equal to 3, or if I would have had 3 is greater than or equal to 3. So if there was a little line underneath it, we would say yes, but there's not. So this is no. And the last two problems in chapter 1 are two different types of problems. So the first one that we're going to do is make an input-output table. They gave us the domain of 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then the equation of y equals 5x minus 1. So an input-output table always includes which letters?
X and Y.
X and Y. And which one of these is the domain, X or Y? X, always X. So we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to plug each of these in for the equation and just solve for Y. So I have y equals 5 times 0 minus 1. So what's 5 times 0?
0.
So y equals negative 1. Plug it into my chart. Next problem. Y equals 5 times 1 minus 1. What does y equal?
3.
4. 5 times 1 is 5 minus 1 is 4. Then I have y equals 5 times 2 minus 1, which is 9. 5 times 2 is 10, minus 1 is 9. And then 3 plugging in. 5 times 3 minus 1 is 14. So the X and Y chart is my answer. The last problem that I have is write an algebraic expression. So what I have is I have a sentence, and I want to change that sentence into a math problem. And there are certain words that mean certain things. I handed you out a sheet back in chapter 1 that told you what words mean what symbols, like product meant multiplication. Let's say addition is adding, obviously. Sum is addition. Difference is subtraction, things like that. So we've got to read this and recognize those words. First of all, there should be a siren going off in your brain because there's two particular words in this problem that are something that we've got to do. Brianna, what are those words? Less than. And what does that word less than mean? Or these two words less than mean? Nishan? Turnaround word. Very good. So 12 is going to go to the back, and the quotient of 10 in a number is going to go to the front. So let's start with the back of the problem. Quotient of 10 in a number. What does the word quotient mean? Division. The answer to a division problem. So we're going to say 10 divided by y. Now, x. If you were to write that as x divided by 10, is it the same thing? No. When you are working with division and subtraction, it matters the order. Because 10 divided by x, that is how it is said in the problem, and that's how you have to write it. Think about it. If, let's say, x were 5, 10 divided by 5 is 2. But if I wrote 5 divided by 10, that's 1/2. That's why it matters. You can get two totally different answers. Then, less than. Does that mean I'm going to use an inequality sign or subtraction? Subtraction. If it were to say is less than, that's when we do the inequality sign. But it does not, so we say minus 12. That is my answer. Okay? That is all of the types of questions that will be on your midterm review sheet and the midterm for chapter 1.